Good afternoon and welcome everyone to Wipro Intelligence Theatre here at MWC in Barcelona. We work at Wipro at the intersection of technology, connectivity, and intelligence experiences, enabling the global ecosystem and helping them transform the industry and technology into real impact. For today's session, it's a very important topic. We are going to be talking about intelligent infrastructure. Connectivity is no longer showcased here at MWC anymore. The industry conversation has transitioned from just talking about connectivity to embedded networks and platforms, which are now driving the revenue growth. Suruchi Gupta, I'm the global head and responsible for partnerships here at Wipro Engineering, and I'm very delighted to welcome my esteemed guest, as Amit, the Vice President for Wipro Consulting for Europe, Manish Gulyani, Vice President for Technology and Marketing. I'm going to start with asking a single question to each one of you first and get your perspective. What's the single biggest shift that you feel has moved the intelligent infrastructure from a technology discussion to a business impact? And Amit, I'll probably start with you to try to understand why and how ecosystem orchestration is all the more critical now.
This itself is a one big shift with it in the conversations that we are having among partners is if we have to accelerate this entire transformation from digital infrastructure to an intelligent digital infrastructure, we need to be able to realize again the business cases and the use cases where we create true values. It's no longer about saying, hey, look, my product is much more intelligent now and I can do this for you, but it's about what impact do you create on the top line, on the customer experiences. And essentially, that's where there is a greater need for ecosystem to work together to realize value for our customers. How would you see that, Manish?
Yeah, I mean, clearly, see, in the industry, most of the discussion has been around, for the last 2 years on AI, been around models and training and and very large GPU clusters and now the energy grid. But really, we have to move from training into inferencing to drive enterprise use of AI. So bottom line is, I mean, for enterprise to get value, all this hundreds of billions of dollars worth of investment that's going into AI has to translate into economic value. And that only happens when we move from our training environment to an inferencing environment where applications get deployed. So that's where the discussion is. Now, for that to happen, you need compute, you need network, you need storage, you need applications, you need the whole ecosystem to really work together.
Absolutely, completely agree. And it is essentially for the telco industry. It's all about there are two simple ways to look at it. You ultimately have to save money and you have to make money, and there is AI is going to be infused in at all layers in the fullness of time, and we believe that there is AI native networks that is being driven with our partners here.
Yeah.
There are AI driven data products. So all of the issues that we have seen in bringing data to AI is also now being solved using AI. So there is an intelligent infrastructure there to simplify that task. And then, of course, the layer on the top of this is finally about how do you extract value out of it and how do you personalize experiences for customers? How do you reduce cost in operations? How do you essentially improve your visibility of data and insight from the network so that you can monetize that with your customers? So yeah, we're seeing a lot of discussion around this and how to essentially bring this from all layers, keeping in consideration security and governance. That's massive. Like how can we make sure that the personal identifiable information is taken care of and so on and so forth. So yeah, I think this is where the industry has got a lot of discussion around how to make stuff secure as well.
So what I'm hearing is that now AI native cloud intelligent infrastructure is going to be the foundation layer. So with that, Manish, what does it mean to the operating model? Can you give your perspective on autonomous operations?
The moment you start distributing workloads across different locations, be it on-prem, on-device, in telco, AI, environments, cloud enterprise, cloud IT locations, hyperscale. This is a continuum of cloud and workloads. So you need the network to just be there where the workload is going to be in an automated, secure, on-demand fashion. For that, you need a new operating model. You can't have a statically configured, manually managed networking layer. For us, we are trying to drive extreme automation towards autonomous networking, not just automation, but autonomy, which is where the network can self-operate, not just follow rules, but actually understand, heal, and improve the operation without too much human intervention. That's where we are innovating. So, for example, on our data center side, and which is where our heavy lift is happening. We brought extreme automation with our management platforms to provide intent-based networking, digital twins, agentic ops, all of those things that will improve the operating environment for people to deliver services on demand and with security and with very low operating cost.
Well, that increased operations and programmability, Ajay, where do you see the bottleneck? Data, cloud distribution, integration, policy.
I think there are a few kind of angles to look at this from in terms of bottlenecks. One is, you know, getting people to adopt, and I basically adopt the AI native approaches, building trust in AI. That is the first kind of bottleneck. And there we are seeing a lot of approaches right now, human in the loop, human on the loop, and making sure that folks are starting to see the outcomes of AI rather than doing it manually and then feeding back. So that the trust will improve over there. The second thing is around security and how you can essentially manage all of this data that cannot leave a certain environment and bring AI to those environments. So we talk about how our edge to cloud continuum. So we talk about services that are deployed in the region where you can apply large scale training, large scale inferencing. Then we have local zones where you need uh, compute to run closer to the infrastructure to the consumer, and then finally we are infusing a GPU infrastructure in the on-premise itself. So this cloud continuum requires a number of things to happen in order to enable it. The right amount of networking needs to be available. That becomes so we are talking about how we can infuse AI into the network as well to enable that transformation to happen. So yeah, so those are the kind of things I think we should look.
Very well said, Ajay. So what I'm hearing is now that intelligence is all the way from the core to the edge. So, what is your perspective on reliability, scalability?
Yeah, absolutely. So these are the things, right? When we think about going to production with AI, there is a lot of POC, fatigue at the moment in the industry, and the reason for that is exactly what you just mentioned around reliability, scalability, security, governance. How do you make sure that the AI is doing what is expected to do? And to make that happen, we are looking at this very carefully, and we looked at these primitives around security, reliability, connectivity, right from bottom up, where we have identity built into it. So what agents can do, what agents cannot do, and what can they talk to, what can they not talk to, and then gateway to manage all of the integration with MCP and A2A protocols. And then how do you manage your security as well from all layers, right from the hardware? And then scalability is all about making sure that you're having the on-demand infrastructure available at the right level of reliability, and that is what we provide as a cloud vendor. We are taking out all of that undifferentiated heavy lifting that folks have to go through to manage infrastructure on-prem, which is probably going to fall because the operating procedure is probably in a spreadsheet somewhere locked in a laptop. So yeah, that's what we are providing, right?
So, if I want to ask a similar question in a different way from your lens, from a GSI perspective, where do you see bottlenecks if we, as an integrator, is it at the integration, is it security, or because you're talking to the customers, is at the commercial alignment?
So I think first is the commercial alignment on the. And if I take autonomous network operations as an example, this is a starting point. Uh, we have been talking about it since 5 years, and we expect that acceleration to happen. But what is behind it is the breaking the functional silos. You've got a business domain, business operations domain, which is different to an IT operations domain, to a network operations, and there is different to the field operations. And somewhere a new organization design needs to be thought through, which cuts across and sees it entirely as a service, where you make a promise to the customer and you do it even better than that. And I think that's where all the layers, whether it is infra layer or it's a cloud layer or apps layer, that's where as an SI we start to see it, and we have started to make promises to our customers on, say, in the service assurance world, mean time to detect, mean time to resolve, or from the service provisioning side, the time to, and there are examples I was taking in the previous panel as well. Some customers, they take in the B2B world 60 days to provision. They want to go from 60 to 30. In the mass market world, there is a provisioning of 4 hours. They're asking us to provision in, say, minutes. So those are the outcomes is what we as GSIs want to promise. And that's our job as well, to integrate entirely. I mean, one of our solutions that we are showcasing here is on the service assurance side in the autonomous network operations at the booth as well.
So you kind of answered my next question, but I'll still ask Amit, what's your perspective in taking the discussion beyond intelligent infrastructure, basically, and taking the discussion from technology all the way to customer impact?
Here, I would take, let's say, edge as a topic. And we are talking video inferencing. There is a lot of spending out there. The infrastructure is being built out. Sovereignty is out there. And a key question there is how to make the top line. There is a lot of investment which is going in from the operators, from the government, and there is a huge outcry. But how do you monetize that investment? And I think that's where, if we collaborate as ecosystem players, focus on something which, Manish, you said, something which truly delivers value. And Basav is here. Physical AI. I think we have to bring out more and more such use cases. Manish, if you want to add on.
Yeah, I mean, look, at the end of the day, we have to make it real, right? So AI has a lot of potential, but it also has costs associated with it. There's a cost for every token that you generate. What application can bear what cost? Why is it economically viable? How are you going to deliver that? With the security constraints, with the performance constraints, with the energy constraints, with the governance constraints, you have to decide where will that application run? How will you deliver it most efficiently? And will it deliver the top line benefit the enterprise wants to deliver that service to the end customer? Otherwise, it's just talk. These are just theoretical use cases that are not going to go beyond POC. That's really our view, right?
So it's focusing on the value, isn't it? And where does that value lie? And then how to measure that value? Because with the AI native kind of architectures, the way to measure value also changes quite a bit. And
for the last 5 years, I mean, hyperscalers have been struggling to have a dialogue with the operators, how you measure value and how an operator wants to look at it. And that's the reality of the times.
yeah, exactly. So that's where we are focusing as well, in the sense that how can we bring that ecosystem play with yourselves as systems integrators and with the vendors to make sure that the value is delivered, and it's delivered on demand and it is focused value as well that drives innovation for the customer.
I think 25 years plus in telecom, I'd always like to walk away from MWC with a call to action. So I want to ask each of you, what would you like, one thing that you like the industry to focus on, the operators, enterprises, there should be the thing in the next 12 to 18 months, so we are ready for the self-evolving networks that we're talking about here.
So, I mean, if I was going to start, I would say, hey, from 12 months from now or 24 months from now, hopefully we're not just talking about the hype cycle.
Yep.
But we are not doing proof of concept and showing esoteric use cases, but showing services that are deployed at scale. They're working, people are consuming them. We're talking about metrics of usage rather than potential of use. That would be, so pick a couple of things. If it's a telecom service provider, choose a use case, whether it's for internal use or whether it's for delivering new service. Pick a couple of things, double down and get it delivered rather than doing everything. Right now, we see hundreds of use cases internally. Well, we got to get a few in production before we can do the rest, I think.
I think we all will agree on that. Ajay, you want to add something?
Yeah. I think I agree. And when we look at, for example, the case of autonomous network operations, in the next 12 to 18 months, what I would love to see is something that is truly delivered value in terms of actually closing the loop fully into the network and automating parts of the business processes and showing really fully automated business processes in the areas of, let's say, RAN optimization and all the dark knock that we have been talking about for years now, to see one true, fully implemented solution.
I think, one of the things I've seen in the industry is we have been trying to partner on a more tactical basis over the last several years, and this should change. Then only I think we can drive value for our operators. And we are seeing that dialogue happening among the players who are serious about making a change here. So that would be a big call out. Let's make it real. Whose role is what? And how do we realize that value for our end customers? That would be my call out.
Once again, I was delighted to have you on this session and my panel. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.